Hello and welcome to another episode of Creating Cultures that Outperform. I'm Frank Wander. I'm the founder and CEO of People Productive. I'm here with my co-host Terri Mays, who's always smiling and does a wonderful job on the show. I don't know if you've been joining us, but we're doing another series. We've done a lot of great series. We started a series on burning out, burnt out people in the workplace. We know we have a mental health crisis. Burnout really contributes to it. So we're talking in this series about burnout. Last week, we covered what is burnout, the warning signs, what you can do to recognize it. This week, we're going to be talking about what contributes to burnout in workplace and life. And next week, join us as we talk about, how to really deal with burnout, what are the responsibilities of leaders, coworkers, and the individual themselves. So it's a good series, very important. Whether you're a leader or an individual contributor, you can learn something here because this is all about individuals and companies outperforming. So let's get into burnout, Ter.
Burnout.
What contributes to burnout? We've got the workplace and life, all of this stuff intersecting, all these cortisol creating moments going on in people's lives. And it's happening across work and life. So
Yes.
what do you think?
So burnout is one of those things that if you're not careful, it just kind of creeps up on you. You have to really pay attention and notice the signs. So this discussion that we're having about some of the warning signs is really good. I think the first thing that comes to my mind about burnout has to do with two sides of the same coin of workload. Just kind of all the things that you're responsible for. We all have 50 hats that we're wearing, whether
Yep.
it's at work or in our personal life. We were just talking about some of the hats that I'm wearing these days, but
Yeah.
a lot of things happening. Everybody has more than one thing that they're responsible for, whether it's at home, as I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and then I serve in my church. I have a full-time job. I have children, but my children are older, but it still has a different responsibility. Your relationship changes as your kids get older, but you still
Yep.
have that role as parent. And then even on your job, you may have wear multiple hats. So that balancing out of the workload between what's happening at home, what's happening at work, it's critical. And when you find yourself out of balance, where you're spending more time on one thing than the other, then it can lead to this place called burnout. The other side of that coin to me has to do with having one of those areas, your work life or your home life, where you're not fulfilled. And so I've many times experienced burnout from not having the right assignments at work,
Oh,
where I just felt underutilized. So I felt like I wasn't valued. And for me, I am hardwired to add value and make a difference. That's just kind of what gives me joy. So if I'm not doing that, if I'm doing a whole bunch of assignments that don't seem to really matter, or if I'm frustrated because I have to do something that's silly or it's busy work, then for me, that contributes to burnout because I get tired with that and not having that fulfillment, and it crushes me.
yeah. And, listen, you make a great point. The lack of skills, interest alignment, we all get stuff to work on that you just got to get done. But a steady diet of stuff that really isn't well suited to your interests, doesn't give you much meaning, that absolutely contributes to burnout. And you see so many things. We could talk about the workplace. You talked about people being overloaded. We see companies doing more and more layoffs. That means that you've got survivor syndrome in these companies. A lot of companies mishandle layoffs. They don't plan them properly. They don't really, deal with their survivors the way they should to make sure that they feel a little more confident and secure. The company's got to be very open and honest. But job insecurity, people, in these companies not knowing if they're going to be hit in the next round or if there is another round coming, that adds a lot of stress. People who don't really make a good living wage, they're under constant stress to meet the demands of their home life, to pay their bills. You get people who have these incredibly long commutes that just drain and exhaust them. And then, companies could easily accommodate people long commutes, having much more remote work. Hybrid work is the norm, quite honestly. It's not going back the other way. Companies should really, leaders have to be aware of this stuff. They got to try to remove these stressors that are in people's lives. They shouldn't be loading them up with 20 assignments just because, the workload's there. They've got to adjust things when there are layoffs and there's more work to do than there are people, because you're just going to burn people out. And burning people out has serious health consequences. It affects your heart. It leaves your body in an inflamed condition, which leads to other diseases. I mean, this is just so well studied. Leaders have to be on top of this, and they've got to understand if the people are working out. They should listen to episode 1, start to look for the signs, and they should jump on this and deal with it and create an environment where their people really aren't burning out but can flourish. Look at all of these unmet human needs that add to burnout as well. Incredible.
Yeah, those unmet human needs are so important. It seems like it's such a trivial thing. Some of us need to have that approval and acceptance that says, actually, all of us do. I say some of us, but we all need that. And people tend to look at that and say it's not important because it's not a hard trait. It's not a hard skill set. It's something very subjective. But if you really want to unlock that hidden potential, if you want to keep people from being burnt out, these are the things that unlock that potential. These are the things that keep people in that state where they feel like they're making a real difference on the team. And that's where you want people to be. You don't want them to be in this state where they feel like, I'm just working on things that don't matter, or I'm overloaded with things that do. And so it's almost like setting people up to fail because they have so many assignments and they're really important assignments that they know are really important and they need to get all these things done, but they physically can't do it. That is very demoralizing. So you don't want to put people in that situation where you set them up to fail.
Yeah. I mean, leaders have to understand that burnout is a real thing. They've got to lighten the load. I mean,
Yeah.
humans do produce cortisol. It's a natural part of the body, but too much cortisol regularly coursing through your blood means you're getting burnt out. And when you give people too much to do now, they really can't get to the gym or fit in a walk or get the exercise they need, which starts to burn up some of that cortisol and, lessens the likelihood that they're going to get burnt out, because that is a great compensating factor. And these met and unmet human needs, the more needs you meet, the more likely they're going to producing very positive energy to get the work done. They're going to be motivated. Every leader should be managing the time, talent, and energy of their people. They should understand what levers to pull to create, clean burning fuel, really good fuel that comes from being motivated, having a deep sense of drive and ambition. That means people's achievement needs are being met. They're doing stuff where their skills interest alignment is there. They're empowered. They have control over what they're doing. They're in an environment, if you look at the talent, where they're accepted, they're included. They don't have to have all those worries of not being part of the group or not fitting in, that people are, very sensitive to people's emotional needs in the organization, and they can help meet them because, it's free.
Yeah.
You understand how to use this. It's not an investment. It's an intelligent use of human capital. Everybody should understand how to create an environment where people are motivated and able to give their best without burning out. That's how you create an organization that outperforms.
Right.
Ultimately.
And, one of the other things I think that goes overlooked sometimes is saying thank you. When
Yeah.
you got people that are overworked and you're asking a lot of them, say thank you, and not just with words. Say it with action. There's one thing to hear somebody say thank you and they just keep piling it on, but show that you really do appreciate people going the extra mile and taking on those extra assignments, and give them some extra time off. Give them a day off. Let them take a longer lunch break or give them a gift card, something. You would be surprised how these little rewards to people will boost the morale and help them feel like, oh, they really do care about me. They really are thankful. They really do care that I have gone over and beyond the call of duty. Sometimes that gets overlooked and people are just expected to go over and beyond and continue to give and give and give. And so as a leader, you do want to reward people and make them feel like you really do value them. And it's not just something that you're saying just to say it, but you're showing them with your actions.
Yeah, and gratitude helps release dopamine. This helps offset cortisol. Those feel-good chemicals that get into the body, they make them feel better, they're less stressed out. Gratitude is free. People
Yes,
should always show gratitude. Terry is absolutely right. Again, this is very important stuff. And none of
very
it's really
important.
hard to do. What about saying time is a resource, and when people are overloaded, making sure they don't have to waste time in meetings, that they have more, uninterrupted time to get work done as they start to plow through their work because they're uninterrupted, or maybe they have some think time thrown in too to really think about where things are going and be even more effective. This goes a long way to helping reduce that backlog and that pressure that's just weighing down on them. And you could do that very intentionally as a leader. Like Terry said, give them an extra day off. You can see they're stressed out. Let them recharge. People have to recharge. So you've got to compensate for this, as leaders. These are all things that are adding tremendous amounts of stress. And we'll be talking in the next episode about really how do you deal with this? We're getting into a little bit here. But, what are the tactics that you should do? Because once you recognize it, the causes, you got to be able to understand what to do about it to alleviate this.
Yeah. And don't have people so overloaded that they're trying to attend meetings and they're trying to do work and manage a life with keeping all of that in balance. You really do want to give people that time where they can dedicate and focus their energy on being present in the meeting as well as completing the assignments they have to get done. So sometimes I think that, we don't really recognize the importance of giving people that dedicated think time and how valuable that really is. Because I can speak from experience. I have noticed that when I have time to just think about something, if I can take 2 hours or 3 hours and really dedicate and think clearly,
Yep.
I can get that assignment done versus me trying to do that assignment and attend 15 meetings and answer 30 emails and respond to chat messages. When I'm doing that, it just takes weeks to get things done. But if I can give it a real good focused 2 to 3 hours and it's dedicated time, I'm not interrupted, I can just keep my train of thought going on that one activity. Man, it's such a difference. It makes such a difference.
It's huge. There's no question that that kind of quality work time relieves that stress in so many ways, right? They get to knock things off. They could get a better quality job done, maybe turn what look like unrealistic deadlines into something that maybe is achievable even.
Yeah.
These are important things, but you don't want to overload people. This is what is really driving that stress. You don't want unrealistic deadlines. You don't want people feeling isolated with no support systems in the workplace. You don't want them to have blurry and fuzzy, objectives where it's unclear what they've got to get done, how they're going to be measured. All of those things add to the stress. And then all the complications of life added on top of it. And the stress at work goes into the home, creates more stress there. So this stuff is all cumulative.
Yeah. I think one of the other things that can contribute to this whole feeling of burnout in this place of just almost like I quit. When you get there, you get to that place where you feel like you can't take it anymore. I think fairness and equality really play a big role in that.
Yep.
And we've done episodes on this, whole episodes where we talked about fairness and equality. And we have a really funny one with the video. I don't know if you remember the one with the
Yeah.
monkeys.
Oh, that's a great one.
One was fed a cucumber and one was fed a grape. And you should go look that one up. It is
Yeah.
hilarious to see the monkeys respond to situations that they see are not fair. So
Yep.
they're being compensated for doing the same job with different compensation. And
Yeah.
one of the monkeys is not having it. And
It's a
he
great,
immediately lets them know that he is not having it.
yeah.
So go and take a look at that episode. But it's so true. Although people may not throw a tantrum in the workplace, you will find people kind of stepping away from giving their all, or they may just do the bare bones minimums. They are not enthusiastic about coming to work if they feel like they're not being adequately compensated for the work that they're doing, or they're not being fairly compensated. because they know that somebody else is making more money doing the same job.
Yeah,
So be real careful about that. I know that everybody has kind of different levels of experience, and the resources that you're bringing to the table may be different than the other person's, but when you have people that are working in the same positions doing the same type work, make sure that they're being compensated the same, because it really does cause some problems.
it does. It does. Yeah, so we're here every Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern. Please join us, tune in. We're live, great episodes. You can go to our People Productive YouTube channel. You can see all the series, incredible series on belonging. We have series on, all the different unproductive personality types you meet in the office and how to deal with them. It's called People Unproductive. Really, really interesting series. We've gone through a lot of science experiments, what they mean to the human factors of leadership, how you could apply that to become a better leader, because ultimately is about you outperforming. That's really what this is about, that the organization, the people in the organization outperform together. So please join us. So next week we'll be looking at what are the responsibilities of, leaders, and individuals and coworkers to really deal with burnout when they see it. What should they be doing? Because this
Yeah.
is real responsibility. So look, we'll see you next Wednesday, 3 o'clock.
Yes. Bye for now.